Not even the depths of hell could have forged a diamond this special.
What's up, y'all? Welcome back to another episode of me reacting to videos that I've been finding on TikTok, all over the interwebs. And today we got a very special video coming to you from news agency in California. So let's go ahead and check it out, and then I'll let you know and give you the scoop, the inside scoop as to what's going on.
Big rigs regularly roll into this truck stop to fuel up in Sacramento.
I love trucking.
Including Roger Gibson, who is on his way to drop off some cargo in the Bay Area.
15-20 minutes. Depends on the fuel station.
Gibson and other truckers are bracing for a California rule starting next week, which bans the use of big trucks and buses with engines made before 2010.
You're killing us. We have families at home too. We got to make a living. And there's a lot of brothers out there I know that own their own trucks, and it's a fight.
The rule is part of a set of clean air regulations the state's Air Resources Board passed in 2008. Then Governor Arnold Schwarzenegger gave it the green light.
So I'm going to pause this video. So what they're talking about is the EPA emissions, and any trucks that are made before 2008 are not required to have a DPF system. A DPF system is known as a diesel particulate filter. And basically what it does is, all it is like another mechanism attached to the engine that it's supposed to lower fuel emissions and engine and carbon emissions by running it through this system, and then basically allowing your engine to incinerate the emissions. We have this system in the truck, and it's supposed to do what's called a regen. Now, a regen can only take place at a higher RPM, which is normally around the 13 to 1500 steady RPM mark. So the truck can actually, most trucks I should say, can actually do what's called a driving regen, or a regen while driving, based upon your engine's continued high RPM usage. It should be able to produce hot enough engine temperatures to burn off these carbon emissions. But if you do a lot of inner city driving, and a lot of stop and go, your truck may not be able to have that opportunity to do a driving regen. So then you will be forced to do what's called a parked regen. Now, if you do a parked regen, it's basically where you have to park your truck in a safe location, because once you initiate it, a parked regen can take anywhere from 20 minutes to like an hour for your truck to come up to engine temperature, proper engine temperature, or hot enough to burn off these engine emissions. So it could put you at a great disadvantage if you are not somewhere safe, or not somewhere where you can park your truck for that amount of time. Now, if you don't get to do that in a certain amount of time, your truck will actually go into what's called a D-rate, where it will limit your engine's performance and until a regen is done. Now, sometimes it gets so bad that you may not get to it in time for whatever reason, or the system malfunctions, which does happen a lot. So for those of you who are not watching, trucks that are made after 2008 to current, if they have, they're supposed to be made with a DPF system. If they're not made, when they're made with the DPF system, it's one extra component in the truck that can fail. And when it does fail, and a lot of times it does because the filter gets clogged or the system breaks or something like that, or it uses what's called DEF, which is a liquid. It's mostly made of water and urea, which is a fertilizer. Trucks after 2008, any trucks manufactured after the year 2008 that run on diesel are supposed to have a DPF system. So that's what they're talking about. So I'm going to go ahead and resume it.
I think that we should move forward with this whole thing, but I understand the business is concerned, believe me.
The Air Resources Board has said 2010 and newer model engines do a better job of filtering out harmful particulate matter.
We as an association are seeing members drop because of this rule. They've just simply decided that they're not going to go out and spend $150,000 on a truck that could lead them to bankruptcy.
Trucks help move goods across the state and country, from food to cars and other necessities of everyday life. Trucking groups note the new rule makes about 70,000 semis, or more than 10% of California's commercial motor vehicle population, illegal.
You can't take that big a percentage of the vehicles off the road. But with the slowdown in the economy, it remains to be seen what the impact will be.
That impact expected to be felt most by smaller and medium-sized trucking businesses as the state prioritizes air quality and public health.
Now, the Air Resources Board says that any vehicle owners having issues complying with the rule should reach out to the agency. In the meantime, the state will deny registration for the vehicles impacted by this rule. The Air Resources Board also has an enforcement division that can do audits on vehicle fleets. It can issue citations, and it is also working with the EPA to enforce the rule for those coming from outside California.
All right. So California, for one, a lot of out-of-state trucking companies, especially smaller trucking companies, don't go into California because of all the taxes, all the permits, all of the traffic. The loads just don't pay. Like, the loads going in California probably pay pretty well compared to the loads leaving California. Just due to its demographic, and they know that the loads coming out aren't going to pay as well. But on a side note, for them to mention that medium and smaller trucking companies are going to be the ones affected most by this new law that's going into effect starting next week, or early January, which is now, be prepared to see another hike in the cost of food, fuel, and goods, or any purchasable commodities. Because with that many trucking, so imagine all of that freight that's coming in from the port of California, that they are already stretched thin because they weren't open long enough hours, and due to hours of service, which is the hours that a trucker is allowed to operate a commercial motor vehicle, now you're going to be reducing the state's fleet. Based on what this gentleman in the video said, that's about 70% of California's operators are small to medium-sized fleets, and that have older model trucks. Now, the benefit of having an older model truck is that you don't have to deal with the DPF system, and it's one less thing to break down. Due to the way things are right now, it's super hard to get parts for trucks. And then when you do find a part for a truck, the price is dramatically spiked due to lack of availability, shipping costs, whatever the case may be. So if you add all that up, with the price of inflation, the scarcity of the part, and the cost of shipping and receiving, it just makes more sense for smaller owner operators and smaller to medium sized fleets to use trucks that don't have DPF systems. DPF systems are extremely unreliable. So it's going to be interesting to see how this plays out. I have a feeling that the amount of commodities leaving the West Coast is going to be greatly limited, and then it's going to cause, as the price of those said commodities going up, which is pretty much everything from electronics to food comes through the port of California. But also, I wouldn't be surprised if the United States government doesn't announce like some type of executive order allowing these smaller trucking companies to go ahead and operate anyway, due to lack of commodities being able to reach the stores. And then it's like, now you got the state versus the federal, and then they're gonna probably push for some type of federal act to crack down on the EPA, but also protect the truckers at the same time. So, it's going to be interesting to watch how this plays out. It's going to be crazy. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section, because if you didn't know any of this stuff, I'm so glad I'm here to explain it to you. But all my fellow truckers and, regular civilians, if you have a comment or if you have an opinion on this, leave it down below in the comment section, and then we can have this discussion, because it's going to be nuts. It is going to be so crazy. Yeah, let me know what you guys think.